the American Forces Vietnam.
Here's the United States Airmobile Rifle Platoon. We'll be using the Flames of War version 4 late war rules. The People's Army will be represented with the yellow dice, and the Americans will be represented with the blue dice. We'll be using the Tour of Duty 1965 to 1971 source book. This is the 1st Cavalry Airmobile Rifle Company. Today our focus is on one of the prerequisite infantry platoons. You need headquarters, 2 of these platoons, and 3 helicopters, with everything else on the list being optional. Your platoons can have 3 or 4 squads. One of them is a weapon squad. Each squad has 2 teams, each with an M79 grenade launcher. All these riflemen are armed with a new M16E1 automatic rifle, which they are trained to fire single shot. Every rifle squad also has numerous M72 anti-tank Laws rockets. Each M16 team shoots with 2 dice, whether they moved or stayed still, or with 3 dice in defensive fire when they're assaulted. The M16s and Laws rockets have a range of 12 inches or 120 feet. The grenade launchers and light machine guns have a range of 16 inches or 160 feet. Each Bell Huey Slick can carry 3 passenger teams. They have side-mounted door gunners. Each door gun can hit anything in a 180-degree arc to either side of the helicopter. They shoot with 3 dice, whether they're halted or moving. 16 inches or 160 feet.
Helicopter operations in Vietnam were notoriously demanding. Flight crews were confronted with virtually every type of terrain imaginable. Landing zones, or LZs, were often nothing more than small clearings carved out of the jungle. Merely bringing a chopper into a low hover in the rough, unforgiving terrain taxed even the most accomplished pilots. To make matters worse, enemy forces frequently booby-trapped potential LZs or set up deadly ambushes.
Like any unit, helicopters operate as platoons, usually of 3 or 4 ships. If there are 3 teams in a helicopter, only one of them can be a man-packed weapon team. The 2 man-packed M60 light machine guns, they can fire with 5 dice if they're halted, and 2 if they moved. 2 dice if they moved. Anti-tank is 2, and their firepower is 6. Rate of fire 2 if they're pinned. Adding an aviation section means that the slicks can return in subsequent turns to pick up and drop off the rifle platoons. They're airmobile. This gives you the ability to reposition some of your troops and maybe even drop in a blocking force. This is Lieutenant Donald Sampson of Lincolnville, Pennsylvania. He is a commander of 1st Platoon, Company B, 2nd Battalion, 7th Cavalry Regiment, 1st Cavalry Division. His platoon was inserted by helicopter 2 miles west of Tulai with orders to set up an ambush on the intersection of a game trail and a stream. Although there was no activity during the night, at 7:05 the next morning, the lookout on top of the hill reported seeing movement to the east. A few minutes later, he confirmed the sight of a large group of NVA soldiers moving towards their position. The squads quickly set up. Infantry teams in ambush are considered to be in foxholes, which means they have bulletproof cover and concealment until they move, except from artillery. The enemy swiftly come into sight and are recognized as regular North Vietnamese Army troops. The Americans' tension becomes palpable as the well-disciplined North Vietnamese soldiers descend towards the river. At the last possible second, 1st Squad Staff Sergeant McCluskey readies the clackers on the Claymore mines concealed on the river's edge. McCluskey detonates the claymores. The North Vietnamese soldiers are stunned by the dull thud as the claymores go off, but they are unhurt, as the front facing of the mines must have sagged into the soft mud during the night. Lieutenant Sampson is already in contact with the fire base at Chu Lai, and he calls in a battery of 3 105 howitzers. If a U.S. artillery platoon that has a staff team ranges in on their first attempt, they can fire a time-on-target bombardment. Every team hit by a time-on-target bombardment must re-roll successful saves in the first turn of the bombardment. The battery fires a spotting round, which is on target. They range in on their first attempt. The RD template is not within 4 inches of any friendly teams. Danger close, 3 guns firing. NVA need 3s to save. They make 5 saves, re-rolling all saves for the staff team. And they make all 5 saves again, so they only lose 3 teams from the artillery bombardment. And 12 men are ripped apart from the explosion. The first squad fires their M16s, achieving 2 hits. The Viets fail 1 save and 4 more men drop into the mud. Second half of first squad also fire their M16s. 2 hits. The Viets make 1 save and another 4 men die. The light machine gun on the south end of the firing line aims and fires. They hit 5 times and the Viets fail 2 of the saves. And 8 more men are blown to pieces by the machine gun, spraying blood and bone fragments across the grass. Squad 2 is furthest to the north. They fire a grenade launcher. It's a miss. The rest of the squad fire their M16s. 1 hit, but the Viets make their save. The weapons team on top of the hill fire their machine gun.
It's a disciplined struggle for life, hinging upon the absolute control of those who command and the unswerving loyalty of those who follow.
They score 3 hits, but the Viets make their saves. Third squad team further south fires their grenade launcher. They hit. But the last Viet team held out on the side of the river. The sergeant's team from third squad fire their M16s, achieving 2 hits. The Vietnamese machine gun team burrow themselves deeper into the mud, make their saves. The remaining Vietnamese pinned down in the river. Staff Sergeant McCluskey orders the assault. First squad storms down into the river, thrashing through the water towards the Vietnamese. The Vietnamese are pinned down, but they manage to blast away one of the teams. The team fails to save, and a few Americans are knocked down into the river. The team is marked as wounded. If the VC roll a 5 up, the team is destroyed. VC roll a 2, they fail to kill all the Americans. The wounded team pull back 20 feet with their wounded. They are pinned down, no longer part of the combat. McCluskey's team then tears into the Vietnamese with K-bars and pistols. Americans are trained troops and require a 4 up to succeed. Americans roll a 6. They are victorious, and the Vietnamese are destroyed. One of the Vietnamese is captured. Corporal Walling is dead, upper chest wound. There's 2 wounded, Chandler and Plummer, both leg wounds, pretty bad. They're on their way to a hospital ship offshore, Yankee Station, Task Force 77. The Americans stack the enemy dead and police up the captured weapons and ammunition. At noon on September 11, 1965, the slicks arrive to pick up the teams and return them to Chulai, where they'll be ferried back off the coast to the fleet. A mech unit is being routed in from Chulai to collect the bodies and the equipment. After refueling in Chulai, the platoon is ferried back off the coast to the Valley Forge. Once back on the carrier, the platoon showers, they hit the galley, then they finally retire to their berths. I hope you enjoyed this look at the U.S. Airmobile Rifle Platoon.